have control. Breach in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, guys? I'm Uncle Freedom, coming to you on another glorious and well-deserved day off. How's it going? So today, we're going to take a look at something that is ultra important, not just as a gun owner, but just as a prepared-minded individual. Whether that being a prepared-minded, you EDC your stuff, or if you're like me and you don't go anywhere without a gun, really important for you. And that is developing PMCS protocols for you. Now, what is PMCS? For those guys that were in the military, they're instantly having weird flashbacks to making sure they got their oil drip pan for the oil that leaks out of every Humvee that's ever been created. Fact. But PMCS is preventative maintenance checks and services, and that is basically a routine that you go through with your equipment to ensure that it's functioning when you leave, that you have what you need to have in order to make things work. And more importantly than that, it's a routine that you need to be in the mindset of. So why is it really important that we develop a good preventive maintenance checks and services? Well, that's because problems arise, and 99% of problems are not like a problem. They're a problem that was coming that you missed, and you could have avoided the whole fiasco at the end had you just followed through with it. So the next question somebody's going to have pretty much is, like, how often do you do this? Well, I figure in order to answer that, we'll talk about what I do. So we'll start with the handgun. We'll just do these in shorter videos so they're a little more digestible. So we'll start with a handgun, right? Like this guy here. This is my Gen 5 Glock 45. I carry this for work every single day. I also concealed carry this firearm. And I do my fair amount of range training. This is my favorite blaster, if you will. So what do I do for this? So if I were to get up, it doesn't matter if I'm going to work or if I'm just leaving my house for the day. I'm going to take this, I'm going to pick it up, and the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to come out and I'm going to check and make sure that my dot's on. I'm then going to look because I have a light on my gun. I'm going to make sure that, all right, cool, my light is working. It's bright like it's supposed to be. But when I do my light, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to come over, I'm going to get my dot, I'm going to look at a white wall, and I'm going to hit this light on because I want to double check and make sure that my dot brightness will overpower that super bright white light on a white wall in a worst case scenario. So after I do that, I'm going to do 10 reps of dry fire, whether that's from concealment or from my outer carrier or my waistband holster, whatever it is. I'm going to do 10 solid dry fire reps, acquiring that dot, pressing that trigger. I'm going to rack it, get back on the dot, release that trigger. I'm also, while I'm doing this, not only am I getting a dry fire rep, I'm also function checking the firearm. And one of the reasons I do that, no matter what, going on duty, going out for the first time for that day, is I do not want the first time that I draw this firearm and have to acquire that dot to be in a terrible situation. I want to do 10 reps of that, just get my brain going, all that stuff, because the first time I rip this thing out, I don't need it to be in a gunfight that I didn't start. And the first time I've tried to find the dot that day is in that gunfight under all that stress. So that's what I'm going to do. The next thing I'm going to do is, and it's really dependent, and it's mainly for this firearm. So if I'm carrying this firearm with the PL350 on it, if I use this at any point during the day, this PL350, I will pull this battery out, put it on the charger, and put a fresh one in. When I come back on shift the next night, I'll grab the battery that was on the charger, drop it back in my spare batteries that I keep in my bag, and go on about my day. But that's just to ensure that I have all of the battery power in that light when I start my day. Little checks keep you in balance, right? So what about, that's a daily thing. That is an every single day I do those things, no matter what they are. Whatever platform I'm running, that is what I do. Every week, though, there's going to be a few more things. So every week, I'm going to do things like grab my holster, and same deal with my duty holster. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab a screwdriver. I'm going to check these screws real quick just to make sure nothing's worked loose that I didn't catch. Because it would suck to have this thing fall off. I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab my lens pin, either Vortex or Leupold. I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to lens pin off these the lenses on my optics to make sure I don't have anything on them. About every week, I take cat crap and I will actually treat, like an open emitter optic, I will treat the emitter window to make sure it doesn't fog up. On this, I'll just treat the outside of it with cat crap. I'll go ahead and do that because it's an anti-fogging solution, because fogging happens, right? If you're outside and it's, if you're inside of this air conditioned building, you walk outside and it's like 97 degrees with 90% humidity, your stuff's going to fog up. But vice versa is true too. If you're sitting in a very well air conditioned vehicle and you get out in a very hot day, everything fogs up. So I'm going to treat this with cat crap. I like cat crap a lot. It's what I like to use. And one thing I'm going to do, I don't hear talk about very much, is your ammo, right? So you have a full magazine, you have the round that was in the chamber. When I do my dry fire, I have to cycle that ammunition out. But every week I'll check my top 2 or 3 rounds, and I'm going to check these to make sure they're not working loose in the case and that I don't have any setback on the round itself. The reason I do that is if I have a high level of setback, I can create a dangerous pressure situation in the handgun that I will only find out about when the gun grenades. That's not when we want to find those things out. We want to find it before. And then another thing I'm going to do is every week, if I've used this weapon light, say a few times, because these aren't rechargeable, these are, A cells, so they're that, I'm going to take these out about once a week. If I've used this light, which I typically do, messing around with it, doing like low light, dry fire and stuff at night, whatever, I'm going to replace those batteries every week. I know somebody's going to be like, that's a waste of, I don't care, right? My life, my gunfight, I don't have to come to yours. You don't have to come to mine. I want all of the power in my batteries at all times. So that's just what I do. Now, every month, I'm going to add a few more things to this list, but I'm going to do all of my weekly checks on that monthly check day too. But something else I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to grab a rag and I'm going to wipe down all the debris off of the firearm, whether that's belly button lit, little crumbs from your Twinkie you was eating in the truck, right? It happens. I get it. But I'm going to go through and I'm going to wipe all of this down. I'm also at that point, now typically for me, I like to go to the range at least every single week. I understand that's not practical, and sometimes the weather prevents it from happening because my off days, it'll be like today, it's 40-mile-an-hour winds. But at least once a month, I will go out and I will confirm the 0 on my optic to make sure nothing has shifted. Oh, and something else every day, I'm also going to check all my witness marks on my stuff and be sure nothing's moved around. But I'm going to make sure I haven't lost 0 and that nothing else is weird or going on. And then I'm going to take one drop of my lubricant. I'm going to put it on the lens of my light. I'm going to wipe it in so that I have that barrier reapplied in case I do shoot. I don't get a bunch of carbon buildup in the middle of the night if I get into a running gunfight because my small town suddenly turns into Mosul. So, I mean, there's that. And then we're going to do a quarterly. So every quarter, we do a couple of additional things. Every quarter, I'm going to re-lube this. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to wipe debris out of the inside just a little bit. I'm not going to clean this thing. I'm just going to wipe stuff off because you get lint and crap built up in the raceways. And then I will lube the firearm. Now, here's the deal. Lubing your firearm, you may have to do that more often. If you run a staccato, you are definitely going to do that more often than quarterly. And it also depends on the kind of lube you use, right? If we're running like ALG Go Juice, or you're running like Breakthrough or Lucas Gun Oil, you may have to go in and relube your firearm every couple of weeks. I personally run Black Rifle Field Bomb on my handguns and my rifles. This stuff is awesome. It doesn't burn off. It also doesn't dry out and evaporate. 3 months is nothing. I can have a gun lubed up that I'm carrying daily for 3 months, and this guy will be butter smooth at the end of that 3 months. That lube stays put. It doesn't get caked up with fouling. I don't have any issues with that. Now, granted, if I go out in the middle of that and I have 1,000-round range day, we'll get to that. But that's something that I'm going to do every quarter, no matter what. I'm going to re-lube the gun. I'm going to put a little bit of this stuff in here. I'm going to cycle it. I'm going to make sure everything's okay. When I pull this guy apart, I'm going to check wear springs. So my recoil guide rod assembly, I'm going to check the springs down in here and make sure I don't have anything jacked up that I can fix really quick. Because if I catch it during an inspection, I don't catch it in a gunfight. So now yearly. We've hit all the way to the 1 year marker, right? We've been carrying this guy for a year. We've kept up with our normal little maintenance we have to do, daily little checks and observations, to the weekly stuff, to the monthly stuff, to the quarterly stuff. Now, every year, we're going to do something a little different. Every single year, I'm going to replace all of the optics batteries for all of my handguns. It's going to happen. I understand that this says it has a 50,000 hour battery life. I don't care. I'm going to change it out every year. I do the same thing with RMRs. I do it with SROs. I do it with my Delta Point. I do it with my Romeos. I do it with the Vortex stuff. It gets swapped out every single year. Pop it off. Super cheap and inexpensive. I buy my batteries in big packages of 40 so that I can just pop them in, pop them out. It's not a big deal. When I go to do that, though, every year, I am also going to take whatever my duty ammo was or my carry ammo, and I am going to shoot this off. I am going to take my rotation set of magazines. So typically for me, in a duty capacity, I am running 1 with an extension in the gun, 2 on my vest, a spare in my bag. In addition to that, I have this magazine that is for my concealed carry. So every year, I will shoot off all of those magazines of ammunition, and I have clone mags. So the exact same mags set up the exact same way with extensions and all. And then I will take all of my new ammo, load it into those new mags, and the mags I used the year before get rotated out. So I'm not constantly beating on the same like 3 mags. But without fail, I swap my duty ammo every year. You may have to swap your duty ammo every 6 months. If you live in a super hot, humid environment and your crap looks like it's been on the seafloor bed for 6 years, you might need to change your stuff out sooner. For me, about a year works. And then the last part of my PMCS for my handgun is every single time I go to the range. Again, I go to the range. I try to go every week. Typically for me, it's every other week. Sometimes it gets bad enough I only get there once a month, and that's when I'm confirming 0. After, no matter what, every range day I started off, I confirm my 0. When I'm done for the day, I rip this thing apart. I wipe it down very rudimentary. I don't clean it, don't deep clean it, nothing like that. And then I put some more lube on it and go. Now, also on my year, I will rip this thing apart. All of it comes out. The trigger mechanism, everything comes out, and I'm going to deep inspect all of my springs, my wear parts, my connectors, everything. Because I want to make sure that if it needs to be replaced or if it's getting unusual wear, I replace that. That also coincides with having a round count log on your firearms because certain parts of firearms have a life expectancy. Actually, at the request of someone else, I'm going to do a video where I look at pistols, specifically the SIG, 320, the Glocks, and then ARs, and we're going to talk about common wear parts and what the round counts are where you should really be looking at replacing those things. So that is my PMCS for my handgun. Now, keep in mind, if I am not running this exclusively, maybe I am running this and then I'm running this part of the time. Or I'm running this and I run a smaller concealed carry firearm. Same rules apply. I follow the same structure on those things, but if I'm carrying this and like the concealed carry other handgun the same amount of times, all that ammo gets swapped too. It's not worth your life to realize you've had something stupid happen to your ammo when you go to get into a fight. Also, it's a great idea to train with your carry ammo, and a great opportunity to do that is at your yearly swap out, where you can run all of the drills with the ammo that you're currently carrying, right down to your draw, your bill drills, everything. You can run it with your actual carry ammo so that you get reps with your higher powered ammo. So there you go, guys. A quick look at my handgun PMCS schedule, what it is, and something you should be looking at doing on your own. I don't know many people that don't agree with me on this. You need to be doing preventative maintenance on your firearms. It's got to happen. Stay tuned, more to come. Lots more neat stuff on the way. If you haven't checked out some of the recent videos, like why Full Metal Jacket is something I'll never recommend stockpiling on a whole as your only solution for defensive encounters. That one was spicy. Anyway, guys, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. If you're looking to support the channel, description box below, you'll find an affiliate link that'll take you to my link tree where all of the affiliates exist. Dark Angel Medical, Dry Fire Mag, Barely.com, Primary Arms. If you were going to do it, use those links, and it helps me just a little bit, and you get your cool stuff anyway. So take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Until next time, I'll see you later.